welcome to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. My name is Jerome Lewis. I'm your host for today. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast where we talk marketing, tech, business, and leadership. We talk these things for real estate agents, real estate investors, and real estate entrepreneurs. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast that has two purposes. Purpose number one, to educate and inform our audience and listeners. Purpose number two, Scott, to spotlight you, your business, your service, or your product in a way that provides value to you, including market exposure and content creation. With that, we have a very special guest, Scott Sillari. Scott, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, nailed it.
Scott Sillari, 13 years consulting and coaching in the real estate industry. He worked for a mortgage broker as a loan processor, certified home appraiser, growing sales and business development for viral marketing, and a licensed real estate agent. Scott has been recognized as a speaker and influencer within the real estate space. Scott, I'm excited that you're here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Jerome, thanks for having me so much, man. I didn't realize I was going to be interviewed by a celebrity, man. That video role was legit, dude. It was legit.
No, I think you're the celebrity, man. I'm excited. I see your resume. I see everything that you did in your bio. Why don't you tell us your story in your own words, how you got to where you got to in the real estate space?
Yeah. So, if you look back, it mentions like I worked for a mortgage office. I was like an assistant loan processor and it was terrible. I got fired. It was awesome because I realized that was not what I wanted to be doing. But then I got into home appraising, really understood, I just learned the industry from that perspective, the buying, the selling, the contracts, the pricing, all that. And then I got my sales chops doing B2B sales, credit card processing sales during like the downturn during the market in DC. And then I circled, full circle. I got involved and helped build a company called Viral Marketing, which is a video-based done for you email marketing solution. And I consulted, thousands of different real estate agents and teams over the 7-8 years I was there. And then from there, I started this company, RealSync, with my business partner. And kind of the evolution of that was we realized there was no real good middleware technology in the real estate space. Everyone kind of had these different systems and all their data was siloed in these systems. And they're having to log in and out and move data around. And there wasn't anything good that was connecting it. So that's kind of how we came to be. And what led us here today is building that company. So
thank you for sharing that. So before we went live, you were talking about you talked about some of this just a little bit ago, but you talked about how, and I've been saying this for a while, how the real estate space is a little bit behind when it comes to technology and some of those things. So could you share some of your insights on some of the things we're behind with in real estate and give some perspective on that?
Yeah, so it's a little fragmented and it's not a bad thing. It's just the way that real estate's always been. I mean, it's a very sales driven type of industry, right? Where you as the real estate agent are a salesperson when you get in, then you become like an entrepreneur and a business owner, like by accident. And then you got to figure it out from there. Right. So I feel like because of that's the type of person that's attracted into real estate, especially the successful ones, it kind of lends to real estate being a little bit technologically behind the ball. And what I mean by that is, when we started building integrations in 2017, 2018, I mean, a lot of these systems like Boomtown and Sierra and all these, they didn't have APIs. Right. And what an API is, it's basically to keep it simple, it's a reflection of the system you're using externally to where someone like me can come and connect and see all that data and everything that's happening within your CRM or your Ring Central or your Dot Loop or whatever systems you're using. We can see all that and extract that data and move it somewhere. Right. So that's just one example of, we've literally helped Boomtown build their API, right? And if you look at other industries, even other, parallel industries like title and mortgage, I mean, they're way more advanced when it came to those types of solutions back then, right? And one of the biggest things that we're hearing, Jerome, today is the term business intelligence. And what does that even mean, right? And I mean, if you you look online and every single major corporation is using it, from Amazon to, Facebook and Twitter and, all the big companies, right? And basically what it is that you're gathering all this data, you're getting all this data. It's how do you use it? How do you silo the data? How do you compartmentalize the data and understand it to where it can benefit your business so you can actually pull the right levers in your business and make the right decisions, whether it's money on certain lead generation or on certain, marketing media, understanding like what's working based on the data that you're collecting,
Okay, so me as a agent, as a broker, how does this affect me? Will it make my lead generation better? Is it going to help me close more sales? Is it going to do all of the above? Help us understand how this business intelligence will help us close more deals. That's essentially what a lot of agents want, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. So I think, whether you're just a single agent or you run a team or, if you're the one that's in charge of the money and how it's spent in your business, and whether it's lead generation, conversion, marketing, hiring, firing, like all the different aspects, the tech that you use, right? And where your money's spent, business intelligence can give you the insight for all those things, from the time you generate a lead to the time you put that person on a nurture campaign after they convert, right, and close. So the way it works, right, and I'm talking for all business intelligence. Obviously, RealSync, we're coming out with a new business intelligence solution that's going to be available. We're actually launching it at the end of this month. I'm very, very excited about it. So you can get on a wait list for that. But the way that the business intelligence works is by connecting to a solution like this, whether it's a CRM or lead gen or whatever, and your data is funneling through it, the intelligence solution will start showing you ratios and numbers, right? And saying, hey, like this lead source is converting at, maybe 3% over the last 12 months. But this lead source over here is converting at like 8% over those last 12 months. And then it will show you maybe the difference in like how much time was spent calling leads from this compared to this. And it allows you to start like dissecting what's happening to where you can go, you know what? If I throw like an extra $500 a month at this lead source, I can get this much more conversion and this much more in my bottom line, to where I understand exactly what my ROI is on that particular lead source. So that's how important it is to have some sort of solution to show you that data, right? Because you're doing all this stuff in your CRM, but you're not really understanding what's happening in your business. And if you can see it like that, black and white, to where you go, you know what? If all I got to do is throw a little more money here, I'm going to convert 3 more deals. That's a 6 times ROI on my money. That's a no-brainer. And if it continues to work like that, you keep throwing more money at it and your ROI keeps going up and up and up. So it just gives you that visibility,
Okay. And I would say you're absolutely right. When you come in the industry, you start off and you did sales, then you end up being an entrepreneur. Like you come in, you're like, I'm going to sell houses. And it's like, well, it's not that simple. You got to do all of this other stuff, including, which most people hate, and they get overrun by like a CRM. It's like, okay, I got my CRM, but how would I utilize and manage the CRM? What am I looking for? What am I doing? How do I follow up? How often? Like all of those things affect us, and we can be overrun because we're like not necessarily technology driven people as agents. So I have a question that I normally like to ask people.
Yeah.
And that question is like, what tool do you find is essential for you to be successful in this industry?
Yeah. So it starts with the CRM, right? As much as it can be like, as a single agent, you're like, well, I know where all my contacts are. They're all on my phone or my Google. I don't need the CRM. But the reality is that if you're looking to scale at all, whether it's hiring an admin or a virtual assistant or bringing in another agent to work with you, you have to have your data in one spot to where it's actionable. And what I mean by that is that if it's stuck in your Google contacts, you're not really sending out an automation campaign, right? Or you can't necessarily tag it for a task follow-up because we know the money's in the follow-up, right? This person said, hey, call me like in 6 months and you have to follow up in 4, or whatever. That can't really happen if you don't have a CRM to really automate. So it starts with that. And like, I recommend, Sync, I think, is a really good CRM, Brivity, Boomtown is more of a lead conversion CRM. I think Follow Up Boss is great, Sierra. So there's certain, CRMs out there for depending on what you need and what you're willing to spend per month. But I think it really starts with that, Jerome, because you get all your contacts in there. There's very simple automation campaigns. There's huge communities on Facebook that you can join and like learn best practices that are free without even having to hire someone. And so the implementation process isn't overly complicated with some of these solutions now. And it just allows you to then work within that. And then once you get the grasp of that, if you go bring on other people, there's this home base of data to where they can come in and start working in there as well. And it's not just like all over the place, right? So that's my big recommendation, man. You got to start with the CRM.
So you mentioned the CRM, and a lot of people they tend to avoid it because it can be overwhelming, right? It's so many solutions and so many options on which CRM do I pick. I heard you mention in a few, if somebody's brand new, they don't have any experience, or they're like, I know I need a CRM, but I don't know which one to pick or which direction to go. What kind of advice would you give that person so they can get started and run their business effectively and correctly?
Yeah. So I would look, the first thing you got to figure out is like, all right, what's my budget what am I willing to spend to have a solution like this that I can start learning and building and adding contacts and automating lead generation into it. I would start with Follow Up Boss. And the reason I say that, and I have there's no kickback from me recommending them. They're just a CRM. And that's why I say that, because they're not, a lot of these solutions are like CRM plus a website, right? And then all of a sudden you have to get like their IDX website, and you may not need that. Follow Up Boss can connect to pretty much any website that you already have. So your leads can flow freely if someone opts in on your website into your CRM, right? And then it's just the ease of use. It's really easy to use. And I think it starts at like around $100 a month. And then if you add additional users, I think it's only like around 50 per additional user. So it works for the independent agent. And then it's not overly expensive as you scale up, right? So you don't have to go and spend $1,000 a month to start. Like you just start $100 a month, right? And it's pretty affordable.
Okay. And once someone goes in and they gather their CRM, are there any other tools you would recommend that they get? Like, could be it could be your tool, the things that you're talking about today.
Yeah, I think our tool is something maybe is like the third phase that you add in a little bit later as you're adding some people, right? To where you can start getting the visibility, because you're like, I have to keep these agents accountable. I don't know what they're doing, and they need to convert, please. That's kind of when you add in a tool like ours, right? But I think you want to get and make sure your website's connected into the CRM. Obviously, there's we do have a Google Contacts integration. So if you have Google and you want to get your contacts flowing freely into that CRM solution, I'd recommend that we offer. But you want to have the Gmail and Google Contacts connected to the CRM. And then, then it goes back to like, all right, what other tools are you using? Are you using, Follow Up Boss would have maybe an automated texting or a phone solution, or using an outside phone solution. You want to have that integrated. And then, your transaction management, like what tool are you using for that? Are you using just like a dot loop, a sky slope, or using open to close? Zip forms, are using a form solution from your broker? What are you using, and what's that? How are you streamlining that? Is that like a labor streamline with a virtual assistant? Are you hiring it out and paying per transaction? Just making sure you have, from each step through the process to close, that you have some sort of system, and that you're not just doing all of it by yourself. Because if you're an independent agent, as well as I do, Jerome, and you're trying to do everything yourself, you're lead gen goes like this until you get some deals in the pipeline, and then it
Right.
goes like this, and then you go like this, and it's a constant yo-yo effect. And the only way to prevent that is to have some support. So you need to be, you need to have some of these things in place, and then also have some, whether it's just part-time labor or virtual assistant, like I said, or someone, or paying a per transaction fee to have your TC company handle it or whatever. That way you can always be focused on the lead gen part to keep you constantly getting more business,
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And then once we get that second tool, then that's when it might be appropriate for you to bring in your tool to help us make things more efficient. Could you talk about that process?
Yeah. So generally, people, bring in RealSync's tools when, when you're maximizing your CRM and you start having to integrate some of these other systems. You would think of us kind of like a Zapier in a sense for real estate, right?
Okay.
And then we also can do a lot of the setup for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And then specifically this new business intelligence solution that we're releasing this month, which we're super excited about, that would be something, again, as you're scaling up and you're adding people and you want to really get more visibility on agent accountability, are they making their calls and connects, and are they setting appointments, and are they meeting the appointments? Are they getting deals under contract? What lead sources are converting? What are your ratios? What's the talk time for your agents? Things like that, where you really want to get granular and start understanding what your business is doing. That's what you would implement a business intelligence solution like ours, where you can start really gaining those insights into your business and what's happening.
Can you tell us, if you're like, a lot of agents utilize social media, can you share some insights on social media and let us know how your tool works with social media, if it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're running any sort of ads, whether it's Google or Facebook or obviously Instagram and all that, right? That's just another lead source. Okay. So again, that would funnel into your CRM, and then we're able to identify, like, all right, these are the leads you're generating from Facebook based on these impressions or clicks or this ad spend, right? You have your ad spend in our solution. We're giving you a ratio and a breakdown of your conversion on that particular lead source, right? So that would just be one of the many lead sources that we'd be tracking for you with the business intelligence solution.
Okay. And speaking of lead sources, people always want to know, like, what's the best lead source? Different things work for different people. But in your experience, you just share some of your insights based off your experience. Tell us what you find to be 1, 2, or 3 of the best lead sources in your experience.
Yeah, like my advice usually is like, it's like kind of like if I was a financial advisor and I go, your portfolio should have some high risk, some low risk, and then some very, middle of the road type of risk investments. It's the same thing with lead gen, right? It should be like, maybe we're doing Op City and you're doing the referral, or Home Light, or Ojo is another good one, right? Where they're qualifying the leads. So you're paying a little more, you're paying the 35%, or 30%, whatever it is now. Referral fee, you're not paying for the lead up front. That's one option I recommend. And then there's other solutions out there. I think like Fast Expert. I mean, there's so many different ones, man. But like ones where you can pay per lead, or Facebook, social media, you should be doing those pay per click or pay per opt-in with the social media type leads. So you should really be diversifying the way you generate online leads. And then of course, there needs to be an aspect of referral based, community based lead generation in your area, where that goes to marketing, right? Video marketing, content marketing, community events, getting in front of your database and your past clients, coming up with strategies and ways to get referrals from your database, right? Whether it's doing like a workshop, getting your mortgage and title person to come pay for it, and doing a workshop about listing your home or something, or, doing social events, things like that to generate referrals. So I think there's a lot of there's different aspects, but you need to be employing all of them to really, maximize your lead gen and, getting good deals in the pipeline.
And you mentioned video, you have a lot of experience because you work with the video company. can you share some insights on video? And I think my audience understands by now that video is so effective. So I just want to hear you talk about some of the reasons why it's so effective and
Yeah.
why we should be using video in our content, especially online.
So video is literally the next best thing to having a live conversation with someone, either over the phone or in person. And what I mean by that is that there's a level of visual and audio engagement that you get through a video where you feel connected to the person, right? And so whenever I talk about video, it's so important, but it's so important that it's consistent, that you're continuously offering value and not asking for anything. Obviously, you would have call to actions within your emails, right? When you're sending out video or in the descriptions on YouTube or whatever, but you're never asking for business in a video. You're always offering something of value. You have a unique opportunity as a realtor in your community to be like the news person, right? That where they look for you to understand what's happening, not only locally, but what's in the national market, what's going on in the town. Are there events coming up? Always something of value, but like it's a branding technique, right? Where you're constantly putting yourself in front of them, top of mind awareness, to where when they're ready in that 7 to 10 years, right? You got to think about how long are people sitting on their homes when that most of the leads and the people you're talking to daily aren't going to buy a house, right? So you have to think long-term like they're thinking long-term. And the way to do that is with the video content, consistently branding yourself, top of mind awareness, so that when they are ready, you've been in their brain enough to where they're going to pick up the phone and actually call you. And so you're attracting business instead of chasing. That's what we like to say when you're doing video type marketing, right? So it's very important that it's custom. It's you. You can be on a camera just like this in your office, or you can be on your cell phone out and about. You can be doing an interview with a vendor, a business owner in the community, someone that is part of city council. I mean, there's so many different ways you can slice it, and there's just so many ways you can do video, man. But it's so important, and part of it too is to gain access to others' audiences, right? So when you start interviewing others, you gain access to their audience, meaning you want them to share the video on their social media, right? Maybe they send out emails, they send it out. Now you become this trusted advisor in front of other people's databases of contacts and potential clients. And it's just an amazing way to scale your message. And yeah, man, so that's what I recommend so starting off as easy as like these phone cameras are so good. Hold your phone horizontal, get a little tripod, and just do a video, even if it's like a minute, about something that you've experienced. Tell a story. That's what people connect with.
Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned, like earlier, we talked about some of the parallel, I don't know what to call them, but other companies, right? So I would like to hear from you. Like a lot of times when we as agents they're thinking, oh, I got to do a video and I got to do it all by myself and I don't know what to say. What do you think are some good companies or some other people that we should be interviewing so we can make like maybe interview style videos where we're providing value, etc.?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways you can do interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your, let's say you're an independent agent and you're in your brokerage, right? And you go to an office, interview one of your other agents about a topic, if they're comfortable too. And then all you gotta do is come up with like 3 or 4 questions, right? And you stand next to them, you set up the camera, introduce yourselves, ask a question, it gets you comfortable with doing the process. And that way you're not just talking ahead, right? You're asking someone else that's experienced about what's going on, and they still see you. It's your branding when you're sending out the video email or you're posting it online, right? That's one way to start. The next way is like, if you're in a community, like who do you know in the community? Who do you know that owns a restaurant or an electrician or a plumber or some of the vendors that you work with? Like, go interview them about what they're an expert at. It doesn't have to be real estate related, right? And you start becoming this person of value because you know people that potentially you would refer or that people may need as a homeowner, I might need a plumber at some point, or a locksmith or an electrician or whatever. And it's just, they have knowledge that like I, as a normal homeowner, wouldn't know, or things that I wouldn't pay attention to. Or like, we're so inundated with information. Like maybe there's some like an appliance I can add into my home that gives me a rebate or a discount. Like there's so many little things that each business owner or vendor knows. There's a lot of opportunity to provide value to your database. So it starts with that. And no one will ever turn down doing a video for you, right? Because everyone wants to be able to share their expertise, right? And feel valued, right? You go to your plumber and ask them to be on a video, they're going to be ecstatic about that, to be able to help you out and give some insight about things that no one knows because no one's paying attention, you know?
All right. This has been excellent, Scott. Could you tell us about RealSync again, and tell us how we can find out more about it, whether you have a waiting list, a website, anything like that, so we can learn more about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. So it's realsync.com. And that's synch.com. And, you know, our obviously our integration platform's available. If there's any integrations that you need, or you need help setting up some of the lead source automations that I mentioned earlier, we will have a waiting list link on our website. And our business intelligence solution is going to be live at the end of this month, to where you can log in, and you're going to have a CRM to connect, right? You can log in, let's say Fall Boss or Sierra, and you log into RealSync. You just connect the two systems, and we'll start showing you the data. And there's going to be a lot of examples and things that you'll find online of what that offer is. And it's really affordable, man. We made it affordable for small individual agents and small teams, all the way up to big teams. So if you're just an individual agent, it's going to be $150 a month, up to 3 users. So pretty affordable solution to really start taking ownership and control over your data and seeing what's going on in your business.
Scott, what's one question that I didn't ask? Sorry. What's one question let me read it.
No, you're good.
What is one question you wish I had asked you, and how would you have answered?
There's so many good ones. No. I would say, you're stumping me here, Jerome.
Yeah, it's a good question. I like to.
Maybe something about like where the industry is going with all the things that have all these lawsuits. Right?
Yeah. That's really weird, because I was thinking about that, and for some reason I didn't ask you that. So I would love to hear you talk about that.
Sorry, my dog was coming in. She was scratching the door. Yeah. So honestly, man, for me, like, you know, I have my license. I don't practice real estate as far as like selling real estate, right? It's more of just being in the knowledge of things, right? But everything that's happened, I think, you know, it's going to give, again, the agents, the teams out there that are the ones getting the listings, it's going to put them in even more control than they already had. That's one thing. The other, hopefully, you know, from my perspective, and you know, not to offend anyone, but there's the ease of getting into real estate is too low. It's too low. It's too easy to get your license. It needs to be more difficult. We need to get people out that are just coming in because they want to sell one house, right? And we need more professionalism in the space. We need it harder to get your license, less agents, more successful entrepreneurs that are going to work hard and actually understand the business. And I think it's going to improve the quality of the business top down from the consumer standpoint, so that the realtor is relevant still as more and more technology. All these big companies like Zillow, man, they're trying to cut out the realtor, right? So the more we can qualify the industry up and have really successful business owners and entrepreneurs and salespeople in the industry, the better the experience is going to be for the consumer. And overall, it's going to keep the realtor relevant and keep the industry moving forward. So that's my take on the whole thing.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like that too. I think the more competition, the better, the industry is, right? That means we have to work. That means we have to become better. And some people don't like and appreciate that, but it's better for everyone overall. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Scott, tell us how we can connect with you personally online.
Yeah, man. Scott at realsync.com, or you can look me up on Facebook. I got a personal page, but Scott at realsync.com to shoot me an email. Our phone numbers are all over the website. You can connect with me anytime, man. I'm here to help. I've been serving the industry and serving real estate teams and agents, like I said, for a long time now, almost 12 years since I started, working with real estate teams. And that's where we come, man. We come from a place of service. We want to help you grow your business in the best way so you can make the best decisions and live, the life that you want to lead and then want to live. And we're here to help you on that journey. So reach out anytime. I'm happy to help.
All right, Scott, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to shut us down. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.